As Damin just said, we are very, very happy to have Carine with us today. Carine, I wanted to start off with something, that Damin also alluded to. One is that you have 14 years of experience in this field. How different is this crisis that we have today from other crises that have come in the past? And, is there some sort of is there some sort of a parallel that you've seen of this kind before?
If I elaborate too much on that, then you will know how old I am. But I will say that I would say this crisis is very unique in that sense that it forced us to change the way that we do work. It forced us to embrace technology. So for me, that is the main difference of this new crisis.
Oh, that's a great answer. So succinct and yet so clear. So let me rephrase that, more for me, because what you're saying is that for the first time, even though there has been crisis in the past, for the first time there is a perceptible and almost like solid change in behavior that's happening, and because of that, this crisis is way different than anything that we have ever met before, right?
Yes, you can say that. Yes.
Awesome. Thanks, Carine. I think that's a great starting point to get to what we wanted to, go about. So I'm, as I said, I'm very happy to be talking to Carine. And Carine, what do you think your specialization would be in, right? You are now the principal of this company, and you're running this for, you've been running this for a while. What could be your, what could you state that you're the best at?
I'm the best at, I would say, employee engagement, and especially employee rewards. Rewards means like compensation, recognition programs, work and life balance approaches, and surveys, of course. You never know what to offer to your employees, what will make them stay if you do not run a survey. So that is actually our focus, is employee engagement, and we always start with a survey, at least most of the time.
Thanks, Carine. That's the reason I asked the question, because I knew that, but I wanted everybody to know that, because employee engagement right now is really important, right?
Yes.
That just for us, like for me and for Damin and I, right? We are marketers in like a company that's now been working remote for a while, and I don't know how much how much of a struggle it is. Like, we are a small team, so it's slightly easier, but in larger organizations, it's going to get very, very difficult, isn't it?
Yes, it's completely different for every organization. And really today, it's not too much about the size of the organization. Sometimes also the industry where you operate will need a different adjustment. Sometimes based on the size, sometimes based on the type of job that organization has. So it's completely different.
So there are two kinds of recruiters, right? There's like in-house recruiting, and there's of course external recruiters, right? How do you think the crisis impacted both of them separately, or do you think they were similar in impact?
In general, what I saw as a human resource consultant is that the way we contact candidates, the way we approach recruitment today is completely different. Like, it doesn't matter if the organization, like the client, for example, has decided not to close the door, because some clients are still in business. Like if you work in a grocery store, you cannot close your door. So you still need people. And those companies, even them, I see some of my clients, they start conducting interviews through video calls, something that they used in the past not to do. In the past, they were always seeing people from day one, face to face.
Understood.
So now everything is on video call, and you can easily, for example, apply for a marketing job on a warehouse, or for a marketing job in an office, I will say, and you will still need to go through maybe 3 or 4 video calls before being hired. And so that is completely different than before. But the video call is so convenient. But for me, I found that a little bit challenging too. not just for the recruiter, but most likely for the candidate. For example, now we have a call together, but there's no way for me and for you to have eye contact with me.
Understood.
Okay, because it's none of us is really looking at this at the tiny camera that we see there on the computer. We are looking at that reflection of ourselves to communicate. So when you cannot have eye contact with someone, it's more challenging for you to convey your message.
Understood.
Okay. Another part that I would say that is very challenging, despite the fact that we integrate video, is the body language. Now you see part of my body, right? You see my head and maybe part of this, but you don't always see my hands, okay? And I don't always see yours, and I don't even see the rest of your body. I don't know what you do with your legs. All that experience about the body language that actually can make a huge difference when you see the person is actually missed with those video calls. So this is the new era. This is the way it is, and we have to deal with that. Another point that I can say is on video calls, you never know if the person has a script in front of them. True. So you don't have any certainty if the candidate communicate in a natural way. Whatever question that you ask them, are you sure that in normal life, without being at home in front of the computer, they would have exactly phrased their sentence the way that they phrase them?
Understood.
So those type of things are like, it's the new era. It's convenient, but is it really optimal for all of us in the long term? Question mark.
The change is just too much for everybody to adapt at the same pace, right? So it's a great place for me to segue into a little bit detailed questions.
In terms of impact, as I said, the impact is almost the same in terms of recruitment process, like what we use as a tool. Most of the time now we do video calls, or we will even just pick up the phone and call and then just conduct the process virtually until the end before we hire the candidate. So that is something that we have in similar, like we found being the same for in-house recruiters and also outside recruiters. Now, what I also know is because some companies have been more impacted by the crisis than others. The companies that have been very impacted, for example, in the aviation, like in the airplane industry, they won't contact as much external recruiters than before, right? So to do like the first stage of the recruitment process. And the first stage of the recruitment process usually are sourcing the candidate and reviewing the resume, and also conducting the first pre-screen call. So those things were usually given to the external recruiters, right? So a lot of companies don't do that now. What they do is they're going to ask their own recruiters to just do everything. That way they can save some money because they already lost so much business because of the crisis. So in that sense, the external recruiters are a little bit impacted. But what I will say to my friends, external recruiters, is we don't have to stop there. It doesn't mean that because we lost some business in one side that we cannot gain new business elsewhere. We can redefine the way we do business. Maybe reach out more to company like Amazon, for example, who are seems to be more busy than before. So we have to reach out to those companies that seems to be more busy than before and see if they need the help of external recruiters. We might also consider to even reach out to companies that we never reached out before. During this era, I had to work with a company that I could have never imagined working with. They were looking for hourly rate employees. Okay. And because they were so overwhelmed, they actually contact me. So these type of things can happen, right?
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. Awesome. Makes complete sense. So here's something that I wanted to ask you, especially with Carine, with budgets being very tight these days, right? How are you seeing, people in your industry, like basically staffing and recruiting agencies? How are they getting creative to match candidates to jobs, right? For example, like as you said, it's getting challenging to see if a person is particularly fit for a certain role. because you're an expert, you could figure that out if that person is in an interview with you, but you don't have that person interview with you right now, right? So how do you figure out if that person is a good fit for it? And so, especially when there's less budget.
How do you figure out that the person is a good fit? It's almost the same thing. First of all, you have to understand exactly what the job is about. So you really have to have a deep conversation with the hiring manager. Understand what the job is about, because some job descriptions are not clear, okay, or they don't cover everything. And outside of the job responsibilities, you really have to understand, especially if you're an external recruiter, because usually internal recruiters, they will know what is the culture of that organization. Okay. What is also the type of people who excel in that organization? Okay. Are they people who are usually introvert, extrovert? Like you really have to understand that. What will be the environment where the person that you will bring in will work? What will be the environment? Are they going to usually work from home? Are they going to usually work from the office? So you have to just discover, understand the culture, understand, of course, it's COVID time, what has been put in place, regarding COVID, the safety of the employees. Now, when you understand the job itself and the impact and the impact of the job in the organization, then you can easily go on the market and look for employees, candidates who actually match those criteria. And again, it's not just about the responsibilities, right? And so one of the things that I always think that is easier to do sometimes is you have to take advantage of adding some questions in your job posting. But the question that you ask, don't ask questions like, for example, don't say something like, do you have 5 years of experience in marketing? Some people will even easily say yes, even if they don't. Ask them maybe, how many years of experience do you have in marketing? Knowing what you are looking for. And even marketing, you have to be a little bit more specific. That way you can save your time, because budgets are tight. Like, for example, marketing is so vast. Marketing today we have modern marketing. We also have traditional marketing. So maybe you are looking for something in marketing automation, or maybe you are looking for someone who has a specific knowledge in a specific tool in marketing. So you can actually be more specific and say, how many years of experience, for example, do you have, with Eloqua, or with Marketo, these type of things, okay? Specific tools. That way you can actually easily find those candidates. But this is only one question. You have to discover the questions. You can ask them, like, in terms of culture, in what type of culture do you excel the most? And maybe mention some of the culture, list them. And among those culture that you list, you have the culture of your clients. Okay, so those type of things just help you to save the time to actually attract those people in. And today is, people sometimes even use stuff like ATS. Use ATS if your company has the budget for that. It's going to make your life easy. And take advantage of LinkedIn if you don't have an account yet. Right? There's some advantage to source candidate over there and to actually even enter those questions that I'm telling you. Yeah.
Understood. Great answer, Carine. Like I guess I'm learning. I'm learning more than I thought I would. I'm not an HR person at all. And before I move on, and I have like a specific question for you. Summarizing a lot of specificity is what you said, right? Specificity in the kind of questions you want, in the kind of roles you want to hire, in the kind of culture you want to like, in the kind of culture, client culture you want to like get this person into. So a great way to like, hold that on would be for the audience is for look at specificity, right? Would I be wrong in saying that?
No, you're not.
All right. Great. before when we talk after, I want to check with you if Damin and I would be good marketers for you to hire for somebody, because I don't know how we're coming across as. So I would love to get your expert's view on how we are doing as marketers. So we'll take that after. The next question from me would be, so there's this study that we were like looking at when we were researching this, right? Researching our conversation. So, and it's in a study by Appcast. It shows recruitment costs have increased during COVID, while applicant rates are low, right? How do you increase like job application rates when you have a market that's, you know, slightly slow and stalled like it is right now?
It's a good question, very good question. If you want to increase job application rate, there's so many options, so many ways of doing that. But some of the way that I'm thinking about, for example, I'm thinking about just using the traditional way of doing marketing. For example, the word of mouth. Why not, if you are an internal recruiter, asking to your current employees if they know someone who meet the requirements for the job that you're looking to fill.
Understood.
Usually people are not stupid. They're not going to refer you someone who is going to come and destroy their own reputation. So we always try to refer someone who is really good. So that is a very good way to do that, okay? If you're not an internal recruiter, you're an external recruiter, you can simply reach out to some applicants, some people from your database, and ask them if they know someone who can actually fill that position. That is the first thing I'm thinking about. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The second thing is, if you want to attract more people, is use the power of video. Now people spend more time on social media, more time on their phone, because they are not in the office and because they don't absolutely need to drive, to commit to work. So they have some time that is saved. Understood. There.
Understood.
So if you post a video, because video is so attractive, it has to be a short video. A video of your company, for example, that gives a sense of what it is to work for your company today, during this COVID era, what it is. And then maybe after the video, you put the link for that job that you want to fill. And in that video, maybe you can have some employees who just share what it is to work there. And maybe you can even tag some employee in that posting and say, you know what, say what you want to say about the company. That is going to excite, your potential candidate to actually apply for your company. So that is how you increase your chance in this type of era. You have to be very innovative. And I think video is a powerful tool because people don't like to always read. Sometimes you just like to just click and listen to something and see some images. So that is something that I can give you away today.
Awesome. No, makes a lot of sense. I enjoyed that answer a lot, Carine. Also, especially because I see that you are thinking almost like a marketer there, right? Short videos that actually like advertise culture as well as what would you. So basically you have to think of yourself as an advertiser for the employer brand, right? And make sure that you're getting that point across. Makes sense, makes complete sense. We actually have a question from the audience, but I just wanted to like stick with this particular point that you're making for just one more question before we get to the audience question. You said LinkedIn, right? And you're using that as a sort of like a way to like build pipeline. What are some other channels that you can give tips for among the recruiters here?
Just repeat the channels you said. What did you say?
So like LinkedIn, right? So what are the other kinds of like, ways in which we can build a candidate pipeline?
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, that is also a very good question. So in addition to LinkedIn, and that question is very interesting because it is a question that actually complements the previous question that you asked me. So what other channel that you can use? The first channel that really you should think about is using the job boards. Job boards are like very important, because there's a study that came out that says that 60%, 60% of job seekers are going to job boards at the beginning of the search. Okay, 60% is a very good percentage. So use job board, but use job board in a very strategic way. For example, use stuff like Indeed, because Indeed, for example, has, if I do know, 250 million unique visitor every month. Okay, so this is actually a very good job board. But you can also use specialized job boards. For example, if you want to hire for an IT job, you can consider an IT type of job board. And I do know some that I believe DICE is one of them, DICE, and also GitHub, GIT, and then HUB. Okay. Or you can use something if you are in the hospitality industry, because I'm sure, you know, with over time that industry is going to come back. Okay. So you will need to think about, like, using maybe a job board called Caterer. Caterer is CATERER. Okay, so you can use specialized job board, or you can use very popular one like Indeed.
Understood.
So another channel, in addition to the job board, is of course your own website. You have a company, as an internal recruiter or external recruiter, you must have a career section on your website. And that career section should be so well set up in a way that even when people use, for example, their phone, their cell phone, their mobile phone, they can apply online with their phone, because 70% of people actually use their phone to apply for a job. So you have to make sure that it is really optimized with Google Analytics, for example.
Understood.
Okay, for mobile phone. In addition to your website, I'm thinking about channels. I'm thinking about people using, for example, the internal pipeline, the candidate pipelines. What I'm talking about pipeline is, who are the people in your organization today as an internal recruiter, for example, who already meet the requirement for the job and who might be interested to get promoted. Reach out to them first. Because those are actually, even for me, that is actually the first targeting group that you have to reach out to, because that is going to increase their own engagement. They're going to be excited. Oh my God, they don't wait for me to apply. They reach out to me and see if I'm to ask if I'm interested. Right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, another one that I'm thinking about is now, you know, there's a lot of stuff called, I don't know if you ever heard about that. It's called recruiting automation platform. People should use recruiting automation platform. Like, for example, Feature is a good one. Feature is FETCHER. It's a good one.
I just want to interject here before Carine continues. Carine, don't worry about each of these. We'll be, you know, linking to each of these in the blog post that we'll write about, you know, the conversation. So we'll include all of this. Carine doesn't have to go to the spellings. You don't have to worry about the spellings. We'll send it to you. We'll send it over to you. Go on, Carine. Sorry.
Perfect, perfect. So you can use like a recruiting automation platform like the Feature. Why? Because us as human beings, we can work so long. We can work like 8, 12 hours per day, right? And then after that, we go to bed or we go relaxing. But you want to have something in the back end of your system which will continue maybe to work for you, and look on the web if there's any potential candidate that can actually match the requirements that you're looking for. So you can use that. So different type of channels outside of LinkedIn, definitely.
Awesome, awesome. And thanks, Carine. That's very detailed and very, very clear. And just a reminder again, folks, we'll be like figuring out each of those things, and we'll be sending it over to you, both in the mail that we send to you after, as well as in the blog post that we put up tomorrow as a follow-up on this. Tomorrow would be perhaps the same day for some of you folks, but that's what we'll try to do. So don't worry about notes or anything of that sort. We'll be sending those over. So this is the question that sort of harkens back to what we're talking about, Carine. It's from Ryan in the audience, and the question is, how would we be able to observe candidates if they do a technical test while using video interviews, right? How do we make sure they're not asking for external support, or to use like a cruder term for that, how do you know they're not cheating? Or do we need to keep the camera open all the time during the test? That's the question.
Yes, but that is one of the things that is very tricky. It's like maybe you don't really know if they're not cheating, but one of the solutions might be to request them to not use an artificial background. For example, me now, I'm using an artificial background, but if you want to test a candidate, if they don't use an artificial background, for example, there's more chance for you to know what is going on. And also, maybe what you can recommend is for them to position their camera in a certain way. You want maybe them to position their camera in a way that you see their desk. You don't really need to see their face maybe too much, but mostly what they do on the desk, if you really want that, right? So
Awesome.
that is what I can do. Now, it's possible that there are some software that already exists, but I'm not aware about that. Okay, so, and also another point that you can add is like, you really have to put a duration for the test. Like, it's always good to have a duration for the test, a length, and then at the end of the length, you cancel, you stop the call. That's it. So that is what I can see naturally that we can do. I don't know if that's helped you, Ryan. Let us know.
So there's a couple of things there that are very tactical, very clear tips, Carine, and I think they will definitely help. What I would want to add is that, especially if you're trying to hire for coders, Ryan, I think we have, IMOCA has like a feature called the live coding interview, which allows people to actually, look at the code that the candidate is typing, the candidate is writing, and you can like look at it in real time and judge them. So we have technologies, and we can help you find technologies if you, and other technologies we don't have and somebody else might have, we can recommend that for you as well. So don't worry, we're not going to sell stuff to you don't want. So you can ask us about, and ask the experts that we have. We also hire engineers like, all of us do. So you can check out our feature, which is the live coding interview. And if you need help, and if that is not the correct answer, we'll point you in a direction that will get you the correct answer. Thanks, Carine. Thanks for that. The question that I wanted to now go is like, we have a little bit of, we want to go a little bit forward, right? So I wanted to ask about, the KPIs, right? What do you think are the most critical KPIs for recruiting teams right now, right? And what do you foresee as KPIs for the in-house recruiter one and the external one, right? Because we also wanted to figure out what are the external ones looking at this point as well.
In terms of KPIs, is the time for hire is very important. Time of hire is actually a very good KPI. Why is a very good KPI? Why? It's because what is happening now is most of the employees are working from home, most of them, not all of them, okay? And if those employees are actively looking for a job, they are more available than before to have 1, 2, 3, 4 interviews per day. Why? Because they have more time. They don't have to commute, for example, to go to work in the morning. They don't have to go outside to take their lunch. They don't have to commute to come back to home at the end of the day. They have more time than before. So they can speak to me, they can speak to another recruiter, they can speak to another recruiter. So they have more time. So if you want to hire those superstars, you better move fast. Because the time for you to negotiate the salary and all the stuff with maybe your clients or with the hiring manager, they might have an offer on the table. So the time of hire is very important to check. Also, because we talk about budgets, When you just think about budget, you say budgets are tight for some companies and all this stuff. It's good for you to really like think, oh, what channel I'm using today, is it efficient or is not efficient?
Understood.
Okay, so if it's efficient, how many people I was able to interview from that channel that were really good and I end up hiring? So you have to think about also using, the KPI related to the channel performance. Okay, so like sourcing channel. Okay, what type of sourcing channel are you using? Okay, which one is efficient, which one is not, which one is a waste of time for maybe a specific type of job. So those are the two things that I'm thinking. Another point, another KPI that I'm thinking, the third one is maybe the quality of the hire. Okay, the quality of the candidate. Okay, yes, we might be tempted. The problem is that, again, I point out the fact that we hire people now over video calls. We don't know if they're using the script. We don't know, we were talking, like a couple of minutes, Ryan asked a question about like cheating. You don't know, we can know so much and so less, right? So then when you hire those people, are they like a good quality candidate for sure? In terms of performance, in terms of culture fit, in terms of engagement. So for me, those are the three KPI that I will recommend people to focus. Time of hire, channel sourcing, sourcing channel, I would say, and of course, quality of the candidate.
Brilliant, brilliant. I think that warrants a separate blog post in itself on our blog. Just these three KPIs. The thing is that the clarity that goes along with like figuring this out, as well as being able to track them. Each one of these are actually separate things, right? One is to figure out that these are the ones to track, and then figuring out, okay, how do you track these specific ones, and what are the numbers you're going to look for? This is great, Carine. This is a great answer, and we're going to try to see if we can pull up a separate blog post on that as well. I have like a couple of questions, to sort of not go a little bit into depth of the recruiting process and the recruiting mindset itself. But before that, I wanted to ask, if there are any questions, please just put them in. Thank you, Ryan, for the question. If there's any other question, put it in right now, because we're coming to the not the end, but also this is, I think, the two most important questions that I wanted to ask, because they're a little bit more about, the personal growth of, recruiting professionals as well. So the first part of this question is this, Carine. What should recruiters be doing to help their firms right now, right? These are difficult times. And, one part of, the recruitment profession is recruiting itself. The other part is making sure everybody is skilled enough in the organization and is performing to the best of their capabilities. What do you think recruiters can be doing right now, especially, for example, if there isn't a lot of recruitment happening, right? And they have time to sort of, fill this in, as well as they being professional development, human resource professionals, they have a lot of knowledge and a lot of like training knowledge that they can use. So what should be the best use of that time?
We can always get busy, especially during this time, I would say. And the first thing I'm thinking intuitively is, it's probably a good opportunity for every recruiter to also give away something to people, to candidates, to potential candidates, to other recruiters. It's probably a good moment for us to share. For example, to candidates, now that people are using video calls more than before, when, for example, instead of asking to a candidate, okay, well, before you send them to a hiring manager like interview, instead of asking them, okay, prepare those questions or review this point, maybe you can also add, okay, that is how you should do for your video call. This is, I will recommend that, for example, you do a simulation with them, and then you say, last time maybe when we spoke, I noticed on your background you had this. Instead of that, do this.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of that, position the camera this way. Give them some feedback about the background of for the video call. Okay, about the position on the chair. Those stuff that we were not really giving away before because we were not on video calls before. Okay, because that really makes a difference. Okay. Maybe you can even help them set up their background because some people are not comfortable with technology. Okay, so that is where we have to go. Also, I'm thinking about recruiters should do a little bit way more business development than before. You are not going to wait for people to apply for a job. A lot of the time, because some people are jobless, some people just click on a job and it might not even be a good fit for them. So you end up with a bunch of resumes that are not even relevant.
Relevant, right?
Maybe because we have a little bit of time sometimes. I'm not sure. I don't have time. I have the feeling I'm too busy. But you have to consider reaching out to candidates, reaching out to potential clients if you're an external recruiter. But reaching out to candidates, really chasing people and see who really wants to move to another type of job at this time of their career.
Wow. Okay.
Another point that I'm thinking for recruiters to do is, if you're an internal recruiter or even an external, maybe you have to think about advertising your company. Because now people have more time to actually checking stuff online.
Understood.
But advertising not in a sales type of way, advertising by providing educational, information to people. Maybe you want to write an article, maybe you want to set up a video call that will give something away to people to use immediately, to candidates or maybe to employers. That is going to be a way for you to advertise yourself and to advertise the company that you work for.
Absolutely.
So that is how I see that.
Brilliant, brilliant. I love that answer. Go on, please.
Another point, if you want me to add something that we can do, but that is not too much about, we have to be very proactive, very extremely proactive, more proactive than before. Okay, again, because people are receiving a lot of calls, so we have to really consider those candidates are our clients, yes, but also the hiring manager is also our clients, and we want both of our clients to win. So in order for both of our clients to win, we should not neglect one. Okay, so really like chasing, okay, this is a good candidate, you loved him, okay, let's just move forward, providing him the best package. It's not the time to be cheap. It's actually the time for me, if you really want to really keep those people part-time or full-time, temporary or permanent, provide them a package that compiles them, that makes them feel good about joining your company. Okay, that way they stay there, they feel like, okay, it's COVID time, but I'm so happy that I find this job with this new employer.
Oh, great. I mean, we wouldn't have thought of that. Like, that's why we needed you to answer that question, Carine. Thank you so much. So this is a great answer, and that's the same question I wanted to ask you again, but differently. So we talked about, we talked about how the number of things that HR professionals can do in their jobs, right? The other thing I wanted to ask, especially because now you are like a hardened, HR veteran, right? You now run your own company. You've had like years of experience in this field. What advice do you give to young professionals, especially at this moment in time? So basically these are two questions. What is the most important piece of advice you generally give to like your proteges or people who are coming up in the field, younger professionals who are coming up in the field? And what would you tell them now in this time, in this particular time, in our lives?
First, what I will always say to people is that if you really want to do it, Do it. There's no like bad time or best time. Just do it.
Understood.
It's always the best time because you want it. Okay. And then if there's an urge for you to do it, that is just motivated because you love it, then nothing will stop you. Okay. Um, it's only difficult when you don't love it because then you start finding excuses.
Understood.
What I would say is this: maybe put yourself at risk, reach out to some companies that are maybe they have been in business for a long time, maybe old recruiters. Partner with them if you want in their own agency at the beginning, just to learn. Okay. Maybe on the first case, you can do that, I don't know, as an intern. And maybe after that, after a certain, maybe first 2-3 cases you do as an intern, maybe after that, then you can just feel ready and then go for it. Or you can also just have a mentor. You can find a good mentor. As you progress in your own firm, on your own site, you have like maybe 1 call per day, or you meet your mentor if it's possible, just to discuss about obstacle that you might have. Okay. So that is what I can say, but you really have to be, to be successful in recruitment, you have to be very hungry for it, because business development is really required. People don't just decide to give you a deal like this. And you have to be very fast, because most of the recruiters at the end of the day are paid based on commission. Okay, so they want to move fast but efficiently. So that is what I can say.
And brilliant, Carine. Any specific skills that you think young HR professionals should pick up? One is that they have to be hungry, they have to be proactive, right? And they have to make sure that they know what they want to do, and if they want it, they can go get it. But is there any specific skills that they should pick up, that they should sit down and learn? That this is the field I'm going to, I should know this skill?
Is there any skill that you have to know? It's a lot of discovery and love, this job, to be honest. What you have to know, you have to know the employment law. I think that is very important for you to understand the employment law in your own jurisdiction. That way you don't screw up when you interview people. You don't ask them silly questions or illegal questions. That is something for me that is really important if you want to talk about skill sets. You must know the law, okay? Because depending on the country where you operate or the province, there's some stuff that you don't ask to candidates. Also, naturally, you have to be a people person. A people person, because you have to be able to care. People might not, you might reach out to a candidate who is not the top candidate, but they are giving their time to speak to you. They accepted you to reach out to them. Maybe they took the time to apply for a job. You must respect them. So another thing is you have to have a lot of integrity. This is not a skill set that you learn at school. It's a way of being. If you say that you will contact someone and you will give them an answer about the outcome of an interview, yes or no, if they went through or not, do it. Let them know if they go to the next stage or not. Don't just leave them like that, hanging around. And if you committed to your clients that you will get the things done, get the job done. Find them their candidate, no matter how long it's going to take. That is what I will say.
Brilliant, Carine. So there are two things that I wanted to take from that. One is that people's times are all the more valuable right now, and therefore, as HR professionals, as young HR professionals, as ambitious HR professionals, you need to respect that a lot these days, and you also need to be proactive, and very, very, very assertive in that you have to do what you say, because we all have had our experiences with recruitment professionals, right? All of us do. Like we are looking forward to getting into a role, and we wait for calls from them, just don't arrive, and then we have to come back to them over and over again, and so on.
Yes.
Exactly. So there was just one particular line that you said in that last answer that I really loved. You said, people's times is not, we cannot take that for granted, right? And which is what I want to end with here, actually, because if there are any questions, people, please answer. Please just put in it there, and we'll try to answer. And you can reach out to us at marketing@interviewmocha.com. And we have our Twitter there. But what I wanted to end with is that Carine said that everybody's time is so precious, and we are so glad that she spent her time with us, today with us, because this was so energizing, so good for us. And what we are going to do is, there is a bunch of stuff here that Carine talked about. With each question, I think there are at least 2 or 3 specific answers, 2 or 3 specific things, tactical things that we need, that you might need. And we're going to bring that out and send them over to you 2 ways. One is we'll send that over to you in emails as well, and we'll send the recording, and also we'll write it up in a blog post so that you can come and pick it up, as and when you want. Reach out to us with questions. Just give me 1 second to see if there's any other question. Yeah. So there's one last question. I think we have 5 minutes, so we can answer that. What are some red flags for recruiters to watch out for while conducting video interviews? And this might be very, very, immediate for Carine to answer.
A red flag for me is, at least if you spend your interview looking down like this, okay, you don't look straight, is a red flag. If you're very, of course, the way that you dress is very important. The way that you dress, you have to look professionally, even if you have a video call from home. You have to dress up for the call. Also, if I see, for example, on the background, someone coming to your room, that means that you did not set up really the place in a way to let people, okay, I have an interview, please just respect my time. It's very important. Now, if I see a child, it's a complete different issue, because sometimes we know kids, they don't understand, right? You're not going to create a big deal for that. But still, stuff like, also, of course, sometimes people use the bedroom to speak. You should make sure that we don't see a bed. Those who place the camera in a way that, what is at the back is well straight, well organized. So in terms of body language, for example, if someone is always doing those stuff like scratching their head or doing some stuff like repetitive movement that we can see with the hands or with anything else, is actually a red flag, because maybe they're nervous. Okay, so these type of things. Also, try to smile, because if you don't smile, then maybe there's some nervosity there. Maybe you're hiding something. Always relax, smile. It's video anyway. The person is not close to you. And yeah, so those are some red flags that I can say.
Thank you, Carine. Are there any more open questions? I think.
Again, it's important for me to tell that is, you can see some red flag on camera, but you can see way more when you see the person in reality. So video for me are not going to replace face-to-face interviews.
Yeah, got it. I think we got that point right in your first answer, Carine. So again, thank you so much. We are just in time. We're finishing just in time, and this is brilliant. Again, a reminder for people, you're going to get this in your mails. You're going to get this on the blog, and you're going to get all the stuff that Carine talked about. We're going to catalog that and send it over to you so that you can use it, in your career and in the jobs that you're doing right now. Thank you so much for being here, Carine. This has been great. We loved it. And we hope that the number of people who are going to see this, as well as the number of things that you have told us that now we're going to write up, that's going to reach a lot more people. And we are glad that we have so much to teach from you.
Thank you again for having me. Really, I was delighted. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carine. Thank you. Bye, folks.
Bye, everybody.